Hello, everyone. The national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were still gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home
words are in your program if you'd like to sing along.
Hello, everybody. God bless our homeland, Ghana, and make our nation great and strong, bold to defend forever the cause of freedom and of right. Fill our hearts with true humility, make us cherish fearless honesty, and help us to resist oppressors' rule with all our will and might evermore. And help us to resist oppressors' rule with all our will and might forevermore.
And one more, we do have I'm sorry, lift every voice and sing. And we have this young gentleman to lead us in that.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun, let us march on till victory is won.
Right, face, forward, march.
And if you could just stay up for one more minute, we're going to do our invocation. We got a little twisted there, but we're fine.
Won't you bow with me quite quickly? Eternal Spirit of justice and memory, we gather together to honor the life and legacy of our brother Cudjo, whose story carries the weight of history and the breath of resilience. O God of our ancestors who walked with our brother from the shores of West Africa through the belly of a slave ship to these North American shores and somehow all the way here to New Jersey, and to the God that sustains us even now, we call upon the sacred memory of the millions lost in that middle passage and those who yet stand with us today, those that remembered, those that survived, those who spoke, and those who thrived and owned businesses and broke bread and sold flowers and fought for freedoms not fully realized by themselves. May our brother's testimony echo in our hearts as a living archive, reminding us of the pain that was inflicted and the humanity that could not be destroyed. Bless this gathering with the spirit of truth-telling, healing, and justice. May we not only remember, but respond with action, education, and with sacred honor. Let this moment be a consecration of memory. Let this be holy ground. And let the life of our brother beloved remind us that even when history tries to silence, the soul remembers and speaks. Amen, Ashe, and so it may be.
Dr. Epps. Opening remarks, yeah, that's you. You've been waiting for this for a year and a half, Linda. Come on. That's what I was waiting for you to do.
I'll just wait till those coming in find a seat. Good morning, everyone. I think it's still morning. So very happy to see you here. We have been toiling. Well, no, that's too harsh. We have been happily working together for about a year and 3 months, meeting every single Tuesday morning, and except for the month of August and the week after Christmas, we took a break, but that's it. We met every other Tuesday and every other Wednesday since February of 2024 to plan the festivities that have taken place over this past week. And I see that it was well worth it because many of the faces that I'm looking at here, I have been seeing throughout the week at all of our various activities. And if you did not have the opportunity to attend, they're all in your booklet. And you can see that this has been quite a comprehensive undertaking. Bobby Bailey, no, let me go back to Kofi Aim. I was working at the New Jersey Historical Society probably back in 2005, 2006. When was it, Kofi? Somewhere in there? 2005, yeah. And the librarian said, come upstairs, there's someone I'd like you to meet. And it was Kofi, and I've never said this to him, but I'm going to let it out now because you put a mic in front of me, you never know what's going to happen. But when they introduced me, he looked at me as if to say, what the heck? I never expected to see a black woman up here as head of the New Jersey Historical Society. That's what and he actually stuttered when he tried to start speaking, right? But you never know, because about 20 months ago, a member of the DAR, Bobby Bailey, called me and said, someone said that you might be able to help me. And then that was the start of the beginning of all this. And I said, this is, I think, a major event, and that we should have activities for all ages so that everyone can learn about Cudjo Banquante, and that if possible, it should all be free and open to the public. And we've managed to do that. So we're very happy. So, W.E.B. Du Bois said, there is in this world no such force as the force of a person determined to rise. The human soul cannot permanently be chained. And I think in many ways that describes Cudjo Banquante, because although in bondage, although after surviving capture, surviving being imprisoned on the coast of Ghana, he survived the Middle Passage on that ship for who knows how long. He survived he was a child, by the way. He was a young teenager when this happened. And he survived decades and decades of enslavement, only to become a victorious soldier, a war hero, fighting in the Revolutionary War, which was a war for freedom and equality. Not that we've made it there yet, but we're still trying, right? And we're all trying to do, I hope, our part in this struggle as Cudjo did. He received his freedom and an acre of land at the conclusion of the war. He was 70 years old at that point. And he, I guess, was very determined to make a success. And he started a horticultural business that was on, for those of us who were Newarkers, Martin Luther King Boulevard, basically across the street from Arts High School in that area. As time went by, he purchased more land, but even more important than that, he specialized in rare plants that were not native to New Jersey at that time. And 40 years after his death, we found newspaper articles still referring to the beautiful gardens of Cudjo Banquante, major newspapers of the day. So it must have really, really been a sight. We have no records on exactly what was planted in that garden, but we know what plants were considered rare for that day that are now an everyday part of our, I know peonies are one, I don't remember the others. So I think we can even give a little credit to Cudjo for the beautiful gardens that we keep these days, because he was partially responsible for beautifying what we now know as Newark. So Cudjo was not the only person of his time period that longed for freedom and took it and made a successful life. There were others. My mind quickly went to Ona Judge, who had been enslaved by George Washington and his wife Martha, who took her freedom. She did not fight in the war and was granted it, but she took her freedom and made a life for herself in New Hampshire. And there are others. There are others in New Jersey, and spurred on by the work of the DAR, I'm determined to find out who they are and give them a tribute as well in some way, shape, or form. I don't know if I can go through what we went through this past year again, but we'll find a way to do it. But Ona Judge said, I am free now and choose to remain so. And I have, I trust, been made a child of God by the means of my freedom. So she became somewhat of a missionary and evangelist of sorts. And then, of course, there was Phyllis Wheatley, who was definitely a contemporary of Cudjo, who said, in every human breast, God has implanted a principle which we will call love and freedom. Right? So they were probably a little caught up with the revolutionary fervor. And for at least Phyllis Wheatley and for Cudjo Banquante, it actually brought a degree of wealth. But there were so many others who remained under the yoke of their masters, and hopefully as the generations went by, like some of your families and of course my family, found a very determined way to succeed and improve their lot. These were not, we always hold up special people, but I want to just communicate that this just didn't happen to extraordinary people, but everyday people were always fighting for their freedom and trying to improve themselves. So I'd like to thank the Daughters of the American Revolution, and I'd like to thank Kofi Ayim for introducing Cudjo Banquante, the man that we're celebrating today. I'd like to thank them not just for introducing me to Cudjo, but introducing me to, in Kofi's case, Ghanaian culture, of which you've had a little bit, a sample of it today. Right? I'd like to thank the DAR in particular for reviving my patriotism to an extent. Right? Thank you very much for that. And I was with some of you in Elizabeth when we commemorated the 250th anniversary of Lafayette's visit to Elizabeth, whom I always wondered about him because I went to Lafayette elementary and junior high school from kindergarten until 9th grade. We learned a little bit about him, but not a whole lot. But you inspired me to find out much more about it. And you know, I'm old now. Some of you have gray hair like I do. Never stop being open to learning new things. I know that for my DAR comrades and for others who volunteered on this project, who I hadn't planned to ask to stand, but I'm going to ask them to stand. Tim Christ, who's head of the Newark History Society. Right. John Schreiber, who said yes when he received the call from me to say, can we do this? And had an argument, all prepared to sort of tug it out with him. And he disappointed me because he said yes immediately. Okay. This is dangerous because I don't want to forget anyone. But Carrie, Nina, and Bobby, please stand. They're the 3 DAR women who helped specifically on the project. I know Dr. Yamba, your name's going to be mentioned again, but Dr. Yamba from Essex County College. I'm trying to see if we have any funders in the room, and I don't see any representation, but James Amemazor, and Steve Tedamante from the New Jersey Historical Society. George, where is George? George Robb from the Newark History Society, who provided a very strong male perspective and said, you can't do that. You know, he really kind of kept us on track a little and kept us moving. I don't want to forget anyone, and if I do, it's just, again, my old age. She gets honored later, but Nikita, stand up. They want to see you. Nikita is actually one of the descendants of Cudjo Banquante. Of course, she did not know that until we told her. Okay, we told her. Marjorie and Warren Crawford, where are you? Okay. They helped us. We had a wonderful 2-day symposium at Rutgers Thursday and Friday with record attendance at both. And Marjorie was very instrumental in making that happen. So thank you so much. Warren, sorry we took off all of her time. You probably got no home cooked meals or anything. Dale Colson from the Newark Public Library. I don't know who else, but we're going to be naming names all through. So. Oh, Tricia, I didn't see you back there. Tricia Broom from the Newark Museum of Art. Okay. Anyone here from the Greater Newark Conservancy? No. Okay. The volunteers who have so graciously spent hours listening to me and my mouth and telling them what to do for the past few weeks, wave your hands in the air. Also volunteers from the DAR. Okay. I think that's it. So I'm gonna close. I wasn't supposed to do all that. Probably gonna make us late and get hollered at later on. Okay. All right. I'm not good at following scripts. People always give them to me, but they know that it's not going to happen that way. So just let me use my ending to quote, our drummers and dancers who really came a good distance from Syracuse, I think, to be with us today. Thank you. Okay, I'm getting the wrap-up sign. Okay. So I'll just leave you with some words from Frederick Douglass. Where justice is denied, where poverty is enforced. This should remind you of today, by the way. This is why I chose this quote. Where justice is denied, where poverty is enforced, where ignorance prevails, and where any one class is made to feel that society is as organized, an organized conspiracy to oppress, rob, and degrade them. Neither persons nor property will be for sale. We will stand up, we will rise up, and we will fight. Thank you.
Dr. Yatman?
Thank you very much. Good morning to everybody. Okay, I have a few words to say in terms of the occasion, because most of the information that I would have liked to share with you is already in the booklet and also in the book written by Kofi Ayim. But the occasion, go back, if you can, to 1720. A prince in Ghana was born. But alas, he was captured and sold into slavery, that inhuman traffic of human beings. Brought to these shores through the Middle Passage, but as Providence would have it, his master was somewhat, quote, kind to him, and he went to war in place of his master. He survived the war and came back, and unlike other agreements, his master kept his word, gave him his freedom, some land, and settled in the city of Newark. Over the years, even though a few pieces have been written about Jack Cudjo, not much was really said about him until entrepreneurial Newark librarians decided they were going to write about people in Newark. Jack Cudjo's name came up. And in the process, another entrepreneurial, unusual engineer from Ghana decided that he was going to dig deeper because Cudjo is a name that can only be found in West Africa. And two, Banquante is clearly a Ghanaian name. And through his dogged research, he dug up Cudjo Banquante. Kofi Ayim is his name, and he's here with us today. And he wrote an extensive biography, so to speak, of Jack Cudjo. And in the process, also wrote about the Akan culture. And he promoted this book. He went everywhere, not much support, but he stayed determined. And as he thought nothing much would be happening to Jack Cudjo and his legacy, the Ochenhene from Ghana was here about 2.5 years ago. He came to visit the city of Newark, and he came to visit Essex County College through the Africana Institute. And while he was there, Kofi Ayim was in Ghana. I was invited to the meeting, and I happened to have a book that Kofi Ayim had written. And I said, Your Royal Highness, I have the book here, and you know what? This book talks about that prince that we hear about in the folklore in Ghana that disappeared. Where he went, nobody knows. But alas, he has been found. And it's in this book. And so began the journey for today's event. And so, our Joseph went to Egypt and saved his people in the process. And so, Banquante came, fought for freedom that he was not accorded when he was born as a prince. But he stayed the course. Indeed, the ancestors work in mysterious ways. And so today we come to celebrate Cudjo Banquante, so that henceforth his name will not be forgotten to history, so that henceforth people cannot say even enslaved people did not fight for the freedom of this country. And so we come to celebrate the life and legacy of a former prince of Ghana who has now been resurrected. Thank you.
And can I welcome John Scribner up?
Thank you. Good morning, or good afternoon, everybody. We do many wonderful things in this room, but I must tell you, in 15 seasons at the Arts Center, I've never been at an event that's opened by 3 national anthems, right? That's pretty good, don't you think? Yes, yes it is. I'm going to be very brief, except to say congratulations to Linda and to Bobby and to everybody who worked so hard and so long to put together this extraordinary week of activities and events and really opportunities to learn. I love history. I'm an amateur historian. I'm no Tim Chris, for goodness sakes, or Steve, you know, or Linda. But opportunities to understand our history and to celebrate our history, boy, we're at the Arts Center, that's something that is so important to us. So we're grateful for the invitation, Linda, that you gave us a year ago, and for your intentionality with Bobby and others to make this amazing week of events happen. And I'm really proud that as we re-architected our plaza, you know, now there's so much more space to do wonderful free events for community on our plaza, that marker for Cinco will be here for as long as there is an arts center here. So we are honored to have been asked, and we're delighted that in some time to come, I'm not sure because I didn't do the run of show, but we will be downstairs and we will reveal this perennial marker to acknowledge the life of Cinco and how wonderful that you all have resurrected him in the way that you have. So anyway, thank you all so much for being here, and please do enjoy the rest of the day. Thanks.
All the gentlemen want to kiss her as she leaves. Louise Roundtree, I noticed you stepped in. If you want to. Not to put you on the spot, but we did see you walk in.
Good afternoon, everyone. You know I'm going to make some noise, right? Oh, y'all? Okay. Look, been to 2 funerals this morning. They had a lot of noise in there because they didn't want the funeral directors to mistake them for not being available to make some noise and take them somewhere. So y'all better make some noise in here. Come on, as we honor Cudjo Banquante and the legacy. Can we just put our hands together for our Dominion community? Yeah, come on, let's do it. We can do a little bit better than that. Linda Caldwell, Epps, and Bobby, they've done some stuff. We can do a little bit better than that. We can make some noise, John Schreiber and NJPAC. Where else will we do this? Come on, I see you over there. I see my whole family. Look at that. And your family, too. Sometimes you get confused as I give honor to these 2 wonderful ladies sitting here who have carried you through this wonderful event, to the committee who actually put this awesome event together. African enslaved soldier, business owner. He's a great example, Dr. Alfani, of what it means, Dr. Yamba, to step out on faith. And no matter what the odds are, it's more about the people and not about you and your selfish attitude towards how can I make it better for those around me and not just me. He served, patriotic. Look at the guys. You guys look wonderful back there. Yeah, come on. They're representing all of you in the last 2 rows. But I come to make sure that this day goes down in the history of the city of Newark. Those of you who know me as, some know me as, well, if you're Celeste, you've known me for so many years. I'm just Louise. If you know my ministry walk, you know me as Reverend Louise Scott Roundtree. But if you know that God has now positioned me and appointed me to be elected by the people of Newark to be a councilwoman in the city of Newark. And I'm excited because I get to make sure that things go down in the history of the city of Newark, such as this event today honoring Cudjo Banquante. Y'all should be clapping right there. But for many years, I've been able to represent the highest officer of the city of Newark. We all know that the mayor is a wonderful, wonderful, multicultural individual that supports. It does not matter your creed, your color, your gender. If it's right, he's going to fight. And so we're here today as I represent two branches of government, one being the highest office held. You just saw my beautiful First Lady, who just so happens to be from Ghana, the leading lady of the city of Newark, Linda Juma Baraka, who was just in the House. And as you know, as I stated earlier, the man who is now running for governor, Mayor Raz J. Baraka, I stand to represent him as well. And because you didn't put me on the spot, I had the gifts in my hand when I walked in the door. So I knew that I would be presenting on behalf of the legislative body a resolution. The first resolution I'm going to give, and I'm not sure whether we have time for me to read all of this, but I don't want to go without calling the individual's name. Of course, we commend the committee. We commend John Schreiber, the family at New Jersey Performing Arts Center, and all of you that sit in this room that are supporting and believe that today was a day to be recognized and honored. To my Ghanaian family, we thank you for representing your heritage and your legacy. But somebody say, but today. But today. That was 5 people. But today, we come to honor Dr. Linda J. Caldwell Epps. I knew that the mayor got one. I knew First Lady's family was going to be here. But I got the honor and the privilege to make sure it went down in the record for the city of Newark. So as we position this, of course, if you know anything about her, you know about her legacy. You know that we want to commend her. She's been a Newark resident for over 40 years. She's a leader dedicated to public service. She's the president and CEO of 1804 Consultants, an organization dedicated to advancement of educational and cultural organizations. Now, we said we wasn't going to read it all, so I'm going to do this. The New Jersey Performing Arts Center Theater Square Development Board Development Committee Chair for the Associate Alumni of Douglas College, Historical Society of Elizabeth Executive Board, New Jersey Jewish Museum Advisory Council, and the Vice Chair of the Board of Deacons at Bethany Baptist Church. I had to throw that in, Dr. Tisdale, because she's a woman of faith. So I wanted to let you all know that I'm presenting this resolution to her on behalf of those I served with: Councilman Crump, President, Patrick Orlando Council, South Ward, Carlos M. Gonzalez at large, Dupre Kelly, West Ward, Louis A. Quintana, Council Member at Large, Anibal Ramos, North Ward, yours truly, Reverend Louise Scott Roundtree at large, Michael J. Silva, Council Member of the East. This has been attested to by our clerk. We literally vote on these, attested to for today, May 3rd, 2025, for your name, your legacy, along with your bio, to go down in the history of the city of Newark, New Jersey, as long as there is a Newark, New Jersey. We got one more. Can't do it without bringing something from the mayor, is that right? Say that's right. Come on, sugar. Get in the pictures, y'all. I wish I could bring the whole committee here. As mayor of the city of Newark, it is my pleasure to honor and congratulate you as we celebrate the ceremonial marker unveiling in honor of Cudjo Banquante. The mayor states, I applaud you, Dr. Linda J. Caldwell Epps, for your diligence and devotion on every level. He says, we're also proud to acknowledge you for the many contributions that you have already made and will continue to make. He says, and for the strong foundation of ethical values that you are building and will continue to build on this journey. The mayor states, I know you will continue to be an inspiration to us all and that your greatest days are in front of you. May God continue to keep the gift that you are and will continue to be for humanity. Once again, congratulations, and may this day be a most memorable one. Sincerely, Raz J. Baraka, Mayor. all of this, but something had to go down in the history of the city of Newark about this young man that we are celebrating today, the legacy of. So I'm presenting to the committee a resolution to mark this day in history in the city of Newark. And this history does embody all of the history of our beloved Cudjo Banquante and those of you who have gathered here today that made this possible, the committee and friends and family. So I'm just going to present this to you for the committee, and we're going to cut the conversation. Amen. Sister Butterfield, we're going to just present this. If someone would like to come and stand with them for the photo, it's a part of these two wonderful ladies. Y'all pick who coming. I'm not going to say a word. I'm not going to say who should come, but I want to make sure that come on. I said that to her back in the back. She was like, just be safe and say committee. That's what she said. Let me get over here. Tim, I'm sorry, sir. Would you please let me help you? You got it? There you go. We should bring that head up here. Come on. I like that. Oh, they told you to come on, huh? Come on. God bless you all. Come on, put your hands together. Celebrate. Bless you.
Well, that was a pleasant surprise. Thank you, Ms. Reverend Roundtree. And I have Tim Chris.
Well, on behalf of the Newark History Society, I just want to thank Dr. Epps and the DAR for involving our group in this effort. It really has been a special time for Newark's history. When many of us think about the Revolutionary War, we think Lexington and Concord, or Valley Forge, or Yorktown. We forget that when the war came in 1776 to Newark and other places in New Jersey's neutral ground, it stayed for nearly 8 years, unlike almost anywhere else in the colonies, because the British maintained control of New York City. Newarkers had to deal for years with the constant demand from British and Continental armies for food and supplies, and with the constant threat of British and Loyalist raids. There were at least 15 skirmishes in Newark during the war, and another 28 in nearby Elizabethtown, as is documented in the middle of your program. Newarkers were drawn into the vortex of the war in the fall of 1776, after the crushing defeat of General Washington's army at the Battle of Long Island in August. On orders from Washington, Old First Presbyterian Church, Trinity Church, the county courthouse, and the Newark Academy were requisitioned for hospital space for thousands, as many as 1,000 wounded and ill soldiers who would be transported from New York. But more British successes followed quickly. They captured New York City on September 15th, and then took Paulus Hook on September 23rd in their first incursion into New Jersey. In October, Washington's army suffered further setbacks in northern Manhattan and White Plains. So November 1776 was one of the real low points of the American Revolution. The odds against victory for the colonists, never high to begin with, had become almost overwhelming. Washington's New York campaign ended disastrously in the middle of the month, and with the remnants of his troops, he began a steady retreat across New Jersey, with Lord Cornwallis and the British Army in pursuit. In Fort Lee, Cornwallis got so close that Washington's troops escaped only by leaving behind their guns, hundreds of tents, and even their breakfast on the fire. After crossing the Hackensack River and then the Passaic River, Washington's army reached Newark on November 22nd. Many men had no shoes, and their feet were wrapped in rags. It was raining hard when the troops reached Newark and set up camp, but the soldiers had few tents, having left them behind in Fort Lee. So they were exposed to the cold and the wet as the rain continued that night and again the next day. By tradition, it was while with Washington's army camped here in Newark in those miserable conditions that Thomas Paine began writing his essay, The American Crisis, that begins with his famous call to patriotism. You know the words, but listen to them again and consider the state of the war effort when Paine started to write them. These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier and sunshine patriot will, in this crisis, shrink from the service of his country. But he that stands now deserves the love and thanks of man and woman. Tyranny, like hell, is not easily conquered, yet we have this consolation with us, that the harder the conflict, the more glorious the triumph. But as today's celebration of Cudjo Banquante reminds us, the colonists' battle against tyranny and for independence and self-determination did not extend to the abolition of slavery. Newark was never a slave society of the sort that existed in the Chesapeake or Virginia, but it was a place where the wealthy owned one or more enslaved persons. Newark loyalists like David Ogden and the Reverend Isaac Brown of Trinity Church owned slaves, but so did Newark patriots like Dr. William Burnett, the Reverend Alexander McWhorter of Old First, and as we recall today, Benjamin Coe. The Revolutionary War in Newark was a searing experience. It's a story of real people on both sides of the conflict who made choices with profound implications for their own and others' freedom. But today, we still have a lot of work to do to achieve and protect that freedom for all, not just a few. Thank you.
She knows the DAR rules here. Kind of hold it. She saw me get up, she got out.
Good morning. I'm reading a message from the National Society, Daughters of the American Revolution President General, who couldn't be here today. Dear members of the Morristown chapter and Greater Newark community, my great pleasure is to send heartfelt greetings on the dedication of the grave of revolutionary hero Cudjo Banquante. I wish that I could be there with you as you honor and remember his service to our great country. The National Society is both appreciative and fortunate to have members who so passionately promote our objectives of historic preservation, education, patriotism. Our commitment to honoring our ancestors and our members are fortunate to live in communities that uphold these same values. Thank you for your faithful service to the nation that our patriot ancestors sacrificed to create. This important ceremony demonstrates your commitment to your community and our nation and emphasizes Cudjo Banquante's own faithful service. This is a tremendous achievement, and I applaud your active participation in this rewarding effort. Each of you has played an integral part in ensuring that the accomplishments, memory, and spirit of our patriot ancestors will be appreciated by future generations. Congratulations on your efforts to honor these unknown service members who gave so much for our nation. Warmest wishes for success as you celebrate Stars and Stripes Forever in DAR ties of service and friendship. Pamela Edwards Rouse Wright, President General.
Thank you, Nina. And I'd like to introduce the New Jersey State Regent, Diane Oliver.
Thank you. You may be seated. Madam Co-Chairs, Mrs. Effinger and Dr. Epps. On behalf of the New Jersey State Society, Daughters of the American Revolution, I bring greetings. Today we celebrate the spirit of the enduring legacy of Cudjo Banquante. Cudjo's courage and great personal sacrifice aided in shaping our nation's foundation. May we continue to honor his memory by upholding the values of freedom, service, and equality for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam State Regent. And I would like to introduce next Kofi Ayin.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, my community leaders. I'm so grateful you are here. The committee that brought this together, I don't know how to thank them. And of course, some of our individuals who we had to bring on board last minute. And I would like to acknowledge the presence of Dr. Kwame Enyani Yeboah, who is substituting for Dr. Kofi Boateng. When we go outdoors, he will be doing the libation. He's a doctor in genetics. And I would also like to mention specifically the staff of the New Jersey Historical Society, where most of the research was carried out. James and James, Maureen, and of course, the one who puts me in check all the time, Dr. Epps. When it came to the fact that we had to call the Ohio descendants of Jack Cudjo at his office, I refused to speak. So I asked her to do the talking because I was afraid maybe my accent could not be well understood. So she did that. Now, briefly, we have heard about Cudjo through the book a lot, but that was not the first time that Cudjo was mentioned in the history of Newark. As far back as 1864 and 1878, there had been some write-ups about Cudjo, but it wasn't much detailed until the late Charles F. Cummins, who was, I think, director of the New Jersey Room at Newark Public Library. He used to write for Star Ledger, I think Thursdays, titled Knowing Newark. So at one time, I used to read the Star Ledger religiously. At one time, he mentioned Jack Cudjo, could be anybody. Then another time, I think the following year or so, he wrote that Jack Cudjo insisted his real name was Cudjo Banquante. And I think it's very, very important for us to know a little bit of our history and culture. Because when I read that, I knew exactly where he was from. Because I'm not a historian, I just have passion for history and culture. I don't have any official training in these two fields. So I started the research around 2004. But going specifically, because we don't have much time, Cudjo fought in some of the major wars. He joined the Revolutionary War after his master Benjamin Cole's house has been burnt by the British under Cornwallis in Newark. That was in November 1776. After the house was burnt, they fled to Hanover. At that time, well, Hanover was still Morris County, but before then, Hanover used to be part of Hunterdon County. So Cudjo was left to take care of the partially burnt house. The question I ask myself now is about the street named Washington Street, because there is still a debate going on among local historians about George Washington's headquarters. People said it was, some people said it was Cockway Mall, others said it was the Eagle Tavern, others insist it was Cole's house. But my question is this: why would Cole's house be burned down and roughened? And Cole's house was located around Washington and Court, around the area of where the Star Ledger used to be. That street used to be called West Back Street. So how was it renamed Washington Street? To me, that validates maybe Washington was clandestinely. He could have used any of the two places as headquarters, but probably he was spending the night at Cole's place, and maybe Cornwallis and his people got hint of it. So they burned his house down. So I'm here to try to find out how the street was renamed Washington Street. Because when it was West Back Street, Mulberry Street was called East Back Street. So Cudjo enlisted in the early part of, very, very early in 77, winter/fall 77, and the first documented war that he took part was the Battle of Brandywine in Pennsylvania. That was September 11th. That was the second longest battle fought during the war. 11 hours continuously, almost like flying from here to Ghana, non-stop, with Delta Airlines. But George Washington was defeated. Again, Cudjo took part in the Battle of Germantown on October 4th. They were also defeated. The British under Cornwallis defeated George Washington again. So there was a retreat at Valley Forge. And then, I think the retreat was like 6 months, December 19th, 1777, all the way till when eventually they got to the big time war in Monmouth. But Cudjo also defended Elizabethtown Point, which is present-day Elizabeth, and fought under Peter Dickinson, who became a captain of the 2nd Establishment, 3rd Battalion. The 2nd Establishment was raised by the Continental Congress after the 1st Establishment, which was established in June of 1775. But their serving period ended at the end of the year. So they raised the 2nd Establishment January 1st, 1776. So after Captain Peterson, Cudjo was enrolled in there, and he was part of those who fought in the Battle of Monmouth. That was, I believe, the longest war for 2 days, 27th to 28th June. That is where we hear of Molly Pitcher, the woman who was helping pitching water for the warriors. And then later, Cudjo defended Paulus Hook, as we started went, which is present-day Jersey City. under Light Horse Harry Lee III. He defended Police. And then in 1779, Cudjo was part of the Sullivan expedition. Sullivan was aided by General Clinton, that they had to take an expedition to the Iroquois nation, 5 or 6 nations of the Iroquois, because the indigents with some loyalists were cutting the supply line of the patriots. So an order was issued for General Sullivan to go and take care of the indigents, and he did. The final battle that we know Cudjo took part was the 14-week, 680-mile trek that started from Rhode Island with General Rochambeau. He was a French general. And that trek, we know one thing, that was the dreadful First Rhode Island Regiment, which was mostly black with few indigents in there. They had to walk 680 miles, 14 weeks. They started somewhere in June and then laid siege at Yorktown. They arrived in September, laid siege for 3 weeks. And the French naval forces blocked the naval escape route of the British. Cornwallis was there. He at that time was there in Yorktown. And under Alexander Hamilton, the 1st Rhode Island Regiment was charged to seize Redoubt 10, which was an embankment established by the British. But they asked them not to use guns. So as an element of surprise, they fought there, they attacked them, hands or anything except with guns. And they defeated it. They took the embankment. So I think October 19th, 1781, Cornwallis had no choice. He couldn't escape through the sea, so the white flag was raised. So Cudjo came back home, and yes, we know that Cudjo had a garden, big, which was given to him in 1794 by Benjamin Coe V, because old Benjamin Coe died in 1788. So his son, who was also called Benjamin Coe, actually bought the land for 180 pounds sterling at that time from Josiah Goldsmith. And it was 10 acres, and he carved out 1 acre for Cudjo. That is where Cudjo started his rare flower business, expanding it, which became a landmark for neighbors around the area. But for those of us who actually know the original home of Cudjo, for him going into natural plant and flower business, there was no problem because the area that he came from was known as Kwai Bibrim, which is the thickest of the forest. So in a sense, people like Cudjo, people like Oliver Cromwell, people like Samuel Sefton paved the way for most of us to be here today, and especially maybe for me standing before you in this podium. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to make it. They toiled through trials and tribulations before their exploit. They were triumphant in their exploit. But once born a prince, always a prince. Thank you.
Kofi, I was just saying, before you sit down, if I could have the ladies and gentlemen I think you're on the back, with the 3rd New Jersey Regiment uniforms on. Stand up and show, they're here and they represent Cudjo's regiment. Thank you so much for doing so. Yeah, a lot of the reenacting groups really feel honored when they can honor someone that actually was in the regiment, and that's what we're doing today. And here they are helping us honor him. Alrighty, let's see. Speaking about reenactors, we have the wonderful Noah Lewis. I hear there's hat envy, so be careful.
My name is Edward Hector. I'm one of the many black soldiers that fight during the American Revolution. I am a teamster and I am a bombardier with Proctor's artillery. I fought in the Battle of Brandywine and the Battle of Germantown, along with Cudjo. I am the voice of the black soldiers and the black community that was forgotten way back then to you now. I want to share with you what we blacks did to help you to presently be who and what you are now. 3 to 5,000 people of color served the American cause. 7 to 10,000 served the British. General Washington will be the general of one of the most integrated armies all the way up until 1948, when Harry S. Truman would finally reintegrate the army for Korea. And that would take over 150 years to happen. 150 years before a gentleman like that and like myself could be in the same unit fighting the same enemy. That's crazy, isn't it? Yes. Not only that, General Washington also will command at least 3 majority black regiments. 1 from Massachusetts, 1 from Rhode Island, and there would be a group that would come in with the French from Haiti, Saint Domingue at the time. And they would fight the Battle of Savannah and the Battle of Charleston. These units will make an important contribution to our struggle for independence. Let me give you 2 for instances. Up in New York, the battle is not going well. We're losing every last engagement with the British. We're getting pushed southward down through New York until finally our back's up against the river at Brooklyn Heights. We are trapped. The next day, the British are going to close in. They're going to annihilate this army. They're going to capture this traitor Washington. And that's going to be it. We're done. We're finished. Right there, right then. But under the cover of night and fog, under the very noses of the British warships anchored in that harbor that night, men would row their boats up. They would load the army into the boats. They would take them across the river. Some would make that trip as many as 11 times that night. What you don't know is that many of those men who are rowing those boats are black sailors from Marblehead, Massachusetts. That night, these men would not only save our army, but save our revolution. What do you think would happen if Washington would have got captured? You think we would have won? There's going to be another battle that's going to come down the pike. The Battle of Yorktown. Oh, before I go there, did you know we have spies in the British camp? Did you know that? Did you know we have black spies in the British camp? One of which is a gentleman named James Armistead, later on added additional name Lafayette. He and other spies will hear information. The British are going to Yorktown. They will smuggle it out of the camp. Washington and Lafayette would make plans. They would surround the British at Yorktown. But Cornwallis, the leader of the British forces, this man is no fool. He builds fortifications around the outskirts of the city. Why, you wonder? Why, indeed. You see, he doesn't want us to bring our heavy cannons close enough to bombard the city. We have to take out at least 2 of those fortifications before we can get close enough to bombard the city. The first part of the attack, we attack a position, we get thrown back. We attack another position, we get thrown back. Finally, we start digging trenches towards Yorktown. Washington calls on one of his best regiments, the Rhode Island Regiment. They're sitting there with their guns, unloaded, bayonets fixed, and they would take their objective in 10 minutes. 10 minutes. The French would take out the other ones. We'd bring up our heavy cannons. We would commence with a bombardment of the city, which eventually would lead to the surrender of the British. This is where we would win the war. By the end of the war, 10 to 25% of Washington's army would be people of color. Now, you're probably sitting out there now saying, well, Ned, that's fine and dandy, but what does that mean to me? First of all, you must realize that General Washington does not win many battles. Let's say he fights 10 battles. Out of 10 battles, guess how many he wins? 2, 3. Now, you take away a quarter of his army. What do you think the chances of him winning are now? Here's what it means to you. You who are sitting here today, enjoying the freedoms you're enjoying here today, are enjoying them in part because a lot of black people were willing to fight and die so that you might be free. Do you hear me? You see, I think it's morally wrong when somebody pays the ultimate price with their lives only to be forgotten by those who's enjoying what that price bought. That's you, that's me. How do you like that somebody that you love dearly died for somebody else's freedom only to have them forgotten? My people were forgotten. And yes, I do feel very strongly about that. Now, in your schools, you learn, your children, they learn some American history, I hope, and they learn some African American history. But you know, some people believe these two have nothing to do with each other. Is that so? No. You're right. African American history is American history. And you know what? I don't care where your people come from. I don't care what your ethnic origins are. I don't care what your social background is. If you are an American, you share an African American history because these people helped you. Now, please don't mistake what I'm saying. Am I saying, hi, we blacks won the American Revolution all by ourselves? No. We couldn't win it without the Irish, the German, the French, the Spanish. No. By the end of the war, as I told you, a quarter of his army. We are so indebted to people like Cudjo. People that were willing to take and put their lives on the line so that we could be a free people. You know, they come up with a motto for our country, e pluribus unum. It's Latin, but you understand it. Pluribus, more than one, many. Unum, uno, one. Roughly translated, it means the many that become one. Can you think of a better description of us Americans? Think about it. The Irish, the African, the German, the French, the Spanish, Jews, Gentiles, men, women, combined to make one nation, one people, Americans. Us, our power has always been in our diversity. You know what? It always will be in our diversity. It's just a shame. It is just a shame that we don't appreciate each other the way that we really should. Do you hear what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? Good. That is what I want to leave you with. I am now, and I shall continue to be, your most humble and obedient servant, Edward Hector.
Those are words to take to heart. I'm just going to, I guess I'm sort of last on here. I'm going to give just a little bit about descendants. And I'm going to introduce our descendant, Nikita. But when we're done, the lovely drummers are going to play, and then you're going to pass us out. And they're going to lead us to the outside marker ceremony. That's 5 minutes, only, it's very short. So just follow the drummers when they start going out, and they'll lead you to the marker. You can't miss it. It's big, and it's bright, and it's bold. Well, it's covered, but you're going to see that if you come. All right, good. I guess good afternoon by now, and I will keep it. I put me last on purpose. The Daughters of the American Revolution is a nonprofit organization comprised of any woman aged 18 or over who can, with documentation, prove that she descends from a soldier or someone who aided the Continental Army during the American Revolution. We were founded in 1890, shortly following the centennial of these United States. Everyone in this room is the descendant of someone. We all have 2 parents, 4 grandparents, 8 great-grandparents. It's a simple mathematical equation, 2 to the nth. That's where my math degree became important while I was writing this. Looking back at our ancestors, we can get a simple glimpse of their lives because we know the general history. Some are lucky to have more personal glimpses with letters and diaries. Then there is our own telling of our stories. The elderly widowed aunt you invite to Thanksgiving every year. She tells you the same stories again and again. Listen to her. She is giving you your family history. She most likely had the same elderly aunt at her Thanksgiving dinner during her youth. When she is gone, so is her history, so listen while you can. I often think as I do my research into my family of New Englanders, did they ever wonder about their legacy? Did Timothy Thompson, as he defended his home in Charlestown, Massachusetts at the Battle for Bunker's Hill, did he wonder what will my great-children's children become? He could never know that just a few generations later, his great-grandson would fight for the Union Army in the American Civil War. That more generations down, a granddaughter would be the first female director of the Worcester Historical Society. Our family knows this from oral family history and research. We are entrusted to keep our family history known. Today we are celebrating a family history by honoring Cudjo Banquante. Born into royalty, captured and enslaved, I cannot imagine that horror. Brought to New Jersey, enlisted as a substitute soldier, granted his freedom, given a piece of land on which to build a thriving business. What were his thoughts for his children's children? There are no records of children born until he was a free man. That says a lot. Did he hope they would cherish the freedom he was born into? Lost, then regained. Do we have any Cudjos here today? Anyone? I know there's still some Cudjos out there. His descendants spread across the United States and have their own stories to add to his. They are now keeping the legacy alive. Listen to their stories. We are blessed to have one of his descendants here with us today. She is part of the committee for over a year. She met with us every other Wednesday for the past year, 16 months. And Nikita, come on up.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here. I practiced in my speech class for this for a whole semester, and I'm still not ready. But what I will say is I want to say thank you on behalf of Cudjo Banquante's descendants, my family, for being a part of this historical moment. So many times, being an African-American person in the United States, we're given a story that just says that you were a slave that came from Africa or you got here due to slavery, but we never really get a chance to know who those people were who came and survived and where they came from specifically, down to their village, their tribe, their customs. It's snatched from us. And so to be able to have a piece of that back, a piece of history that's normally stolen from us. It's an amazing thing. But to know who Cudjo was, not just for me and my family, but to everybody, the selflessness, his triumphant nature, his determination to prevail regardless of his circumstances, gives me courage every single day to show up and be the best version of myself in honor of him, in honor of his legacy. And I hope that everybody takes something from his spirit that he left behind here and allow that to encourage you to be the best that you can be, to do the best that you can by not just yourself, but your fellow man. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of this. Thank you for, bringing this story to life and making it an important thing for everyone to know and sharing it. I appreciate you all for coming out. And if I didn't say thank you for something, just know I'm grateful, and I hope you all enjoyed this. And that's all I have for now. What? Oh my gosh, it's a replica of our Thank you to Miss Linda, because she contacted Kofi, and her contacted my mother like over 20, I think it was 20 years ago. So I knew somewhat about this, but my mother was heavily involved in this more than me, and I was voluntold to continue.
Aren't we all voluntold? Aren't we all?
I should mention that other members of the family are in town. Hopefully we'll see them outside.
Yeah.
They came in very, very late last night and just couldn't quite get together early enough to get here. But they are here, and if you're staying around for a while, you may get to meet them. This is Cudjo in the middle here, fighting at the Battle of Monmouth. And I did not know, I knew that the portrait was in the making. I didn't know where it was supposed to take place. And I saw, the mock-up of it, and I had to go. Anyone here from the Historical Commission? We had a meeting there last November, and I said, this looks just like the background that's in the picture that we're getting up. Well, it turns out that's where it was. So if any of you go to the Battle of Monmouth, think about Cudjo. You'll see George Washington back here on his white horse, if you look carefully at it. It's also on the cover of your program. And that's done purposely. We wanted Cudjo to be the star of this rendition of the Battle of Monmouth.
It's called Heat of the Battle. It was donated to us, the original painting by John Philip Osborne, and it's in the Newark Art Museum, which we celebrated last weekend. And anyone can go to the Newark Art Museum and see the original. It's 2 years? Is it going to be? It'll be hanging there for 2 years in the Revolutionary War section of the museum, which is a beautiful museum. So we're glad you can make it. All right, guys. All right.
So, arrangement.
Always been
Not paying attention. But it's also it's funny the woman who introduced him, right? So maybe he was doing that retaliation.
I did see it. And when you said that, I just had to say.
Okay. Hello, everybody. We'll get started with the outdoor portion of the ceremony. And it's not in your program, but we are honored to have Senator Renee Burgess here to say a few words. Where'd she go? Oh, there she is. You were there for a while.
Thank you. I won't be before you long. I just want to say, give a round of applause for a beautiful program in recognition of a man, Cudjo, that had done so much for our history and is responsible for me being here today as not only as a senator, but just as a person and also on a county level as a director of small business. And that's why it was just befitting for me to be here. But I congratulate you and your history and your family and everybody that was responsible for putting this together. God bless you all and thank you.
We'll unveil. Where's Carrie? Okay, those who are going to actually unveil the marker.
Good afternoon once again. Good afternoon. So the first part of the second part is done. Now it's time to remember Almighty God, our ancestors. We're going to have our own Dr. Nyani Yeboah, who is a geneticist, right? medical genetics. I can't pronounce that word. Please forgive me. I wish I can say it in Akan language, but I don't know the equivalent. But he will be assisted by Nana Atabuama. Doctor would explain what he's going to say in brief, so we all can understand, those who cannot speak our language. But God and ancestors speak our language. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm the substitute. The Messiah is not here, so I'm the substitute. Okay. In all dealings in Africa and particularly in Ghana, every event, happy occasion, sad occasion, family gathering is preceded by pouring libation. It's invocation with the ancestors. Our ancestors who have gone, they are not gone, they are around us. As I speak, they are around us. The gods are all around us, okay? And we pour libation with liquor, but you don't have to use liquor. You can use water. We can just pour water and just say what you want to tell the ancestors. Today it's a celebration. This is a very big occasion. It's rare that you find somebody who went through slavery with his own name. With his own name, never had the name change. Not even in Ghana, where there was also some indigenous slavery. People, almost everybody was renamed, giving something another name. My passion is also history. And as I speak, I'm trying to write the history of my hometown. And I would beg you, the Ghanaians and everybody, most of our history is in oral communication. As the elders pass on, we lose a lot of information. This is our chance to document everything, write everything down for your descendants. Now, for libation, I'm going in front of the elders. I'm going to call them as a sign of respect. I have to take off my shoes. As a sign of also respect, now respect, I have to lower my cloth. And the reason is that before guns were introduced into Ghana by the Danes, they were the first to introduce guns. Before then, we were using bows and arrows and knives, and most of these knives were in scabbards, and you had to hang it on your neck so that it would be on your right side. You'll be able to pull your knife and do whatever you need to do with the enemy. If you're approaching a chief and you have your cloth up like this, you could be hiding the knife, okay? So that's why you lower this, for them to see that you don't have a string around your neck and you are not a threat, to the chief. Now it's a sign of respect that if you're approaching an elder, a chief, you take off your shoes, you lower, the cloth, and then you are ready. In all our invocation, we call God first. God, the omnipotent, before we call everybody else. If I may. Yachira unsa ni yengu unsa. Ghana mansa. America mansa. Ochi mansa. Asante mansa. Aguna. Srem 4. Infanti 4. Enum 4. Obi a medu bi nso. Nananom, and then we ha, me Monana, Dr. Kwame Nyani Abua, Agunaba, and Mabaha, and ne, Moamuba, Wajraye, and ne Bona Basuaha. This year, Obeye Aqua will be Krum. One Paba Obebu Bra Papa Waha. So a Mubra Papa, Uncle Yaninaha. Some power, they were some Newark. Any Aqua Obedi or Krumha. And I do what dance, and what for the one dance, dear. Now, so Nadia. Yeah, see. Bibi amano. Nasifo ewaha. Awray your friend in the kita. Nananum penifo. Munyina yeso ofre ba ko ande afre munyina. Yesi akwara mfre ne penifo nyina. O ye fre ba ko ande afre munyina. Mo mejuna yachi. Ba kwante. Na wudin no ya kan wudin na aboma ma na ye broni din. Edina kasa ye ba ene kwante edimienu we de Cudjo no ka ho a na ye miensa ene ya na brofudin ama wasifo nyina wasintuye ebe de gina hai ebe ne mu na nkwan mu wo mo ba wudin atre aman akrom ha nyina wudin betra ba bia Bona mutie rekada nyina no na dana ba kwante a wadi kan panifo mu nyina mu megina ndachi o no onkoma ye okoba nya fa honya ama odi be ye ne ma pi e wo krom ha ene sa fa honya ya obi obenya ye papa bi aba ye se mu ni din o papa bi ne tai tintin e bi ase free akoka chebi the only ya cross me who don't see your smate. Wabe no kro twa mansa dia betu ye mu. Nana no mo nkasa nkyere no. Ojan kwa abonten a so osai abonten. Wonim so osai ni dua. Nana no so de kan yo. Sa wo wi abo ne nsa no. Na so ye den. Na so kan wo de. Ama na ebeba da achen. Ono so ebia na so ebia be si na busua mu. Ya kasa nyina no nananom say tu obi wo mu anaso obi baabi no say ade aye nyina na wahi wo say me nua kofia yi mo gyina ha tro yi kra ade na wa kotro sansem wo say ahemfo ahia ha nyina na hi wo ye wahi wo say me ya hu ye na hi wo say broni hu ye na hi sa nipa no mo mode mo ntunufo na so wotie mo fa no meka ye ko ye de ye mfani pa boni o papa nko an ye pe mutu ne pa ne fo na wotie a ye beje na kan ye ho mutu ne fo na wantie no se de ne boni no a en wo betu ye duro obeye we obekun we obeye say ya nananom otwahwe a mo ye den won ka fom de mo bia no se ahoye do ehonye do say ni pane de mo me fa don koka mo ho na ye ho to ye me kasa do no woni kasa tio So I just told you what I wanted to say. I spoke to the ancestors. I spoke to the gods of Ghana and everywhere. They are here with us. I'm telling you, they are standing here. They are witnesses to all of this. And we are very blessed to have such occasion. And please, let me take this opportunity to thank the city of Newark, to thank the Daughters of the American Revolution, and everybody who was part of this to keep this occasion going. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Doctor. By tradition, the drink can be shared by all. So whoever wants to partake, and as a sign of unity, you take it from same very glass that was used to do. So please, if you don't finish the bottle, we know where it will go. Thank you. Yeah, before Bobby comes, please, I've been asked to remind us that we have Ghana's acting consul general in here. Please, can you just rise and thank you? Thank you so much. He represents the government of Ghana with his presence. Thank you.
And I'd like to introduce Judge Gail Loftus, who, in addition to being an attorney and judge, is the current organizing secretary of the New Jersey State Daughters of the American Revolution. She will say the Patriot Memorial Service, it is a call and response. It is in your programs. So if you could please turn to your programs.
Of course, she walked away taking mine, but that's okay. That's all right.
Sorry.
I'm truly honored to be able to participate in this, both for my ancestors and the Daughters of the American Revolution, as well as to join with you celebrating yours. So, we gather here to recall the men and women who imperiled their lives, fortunes, and sacred honor to form these United States of America. And let us always remember, we recognize their boldness, their courage, their character. We honor their vision, their selflessness, and their resolve. Let us forever respect, as the descendants of ordinary men and women who achieved extraordinary things. We salute their determination to forge a democracy within a republic and to recommit ourselves to our fundamental responsibility to fulfill our obligations as active, engaged citizens. Let us pledge patriotism. Let us each, in turn, speak aloud the name of one patriot to whom we wish to honor today, Cudjo Banquante. Cudjo Banquante. E pluribus unum, from many one. Let us remember that just as our ancestors united to found a nation, so must we strive to both serve and unite our beloved country in order to fill its perpetual destiny as a beacon of freedom living people everywhere on earth. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we will conclude the ceremony with the playing of taps. So if we have any veterans or active military in our midst, and you would like to stand for taps, now's a good time to do that. And I would like to introduce that we have a member of Bugles Across America, a wonderful organization. Valentine, I'm gonna mess up your last name, Katunowitz, who will play taps for us as our conclusion. Okay, thank you very much. This concludes our formal ceremony. We encourage you, our drummers and dancers will continue to perform Noah Lewis, also known as Ned Hector, and the members of the 3rd New Jersey Regiment, Cudjo Banquante's regiment, will remain for interaction. And when you're done with the outdoor portion, you'd like to go right across the street to that tall building. We have a reception on the 2nd floor for all invitees. And I understand that there was a lost phone that was recovered that was lost by somebody. So if you have lost your phone, please let us know right over here under the tree, and we'll give it back to
Excuse me. They're gonna be dancing around here. So okay, yeah, as soon as they move, I'll move.